Hey guys, I'm Nick and welcome back to Sci-Finatics. Well, I hope you really enjoyed part one of my interview with Doug Jones. And of course, now it's time for part two. So let's get right into that. So what would you say is your favourite Discovery episode or scene? Do you have one that kind of sticks in your mind throughout the last sort of 3 seasons that, is more memorable for you?
So many moments that I love for Saru, but I think like a pinnacle of emotion and connection with my relationship with Michael Burnham. Sonequa Martin Green and we get along like brother and sister in real life anyway. So playing that brother like sister like relationship on film, that in season 1 was a bit more competitive and mistrusting. Season 2. When the respect is building back and we actually are championing each other. I think it was that episode where I was going through Vihara and I was feeling sickly. That was a big episode for me.
Yeah.
And I thought I was actually dying, and I had to be okay with that. And when it came time to actually do the deed, I wanted Burnham to come to my quarters and help me with that. So that was a huge thing. That was a huge ask.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the scene that we played in my quarters, that was the first time you had seen Saru's quarters with all the plant life in there, like a terrarium.
That was amazing. Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah, it was great. And to have that special Kelpien knife that my sister had given me. So there was a lot of family nostalgia going on in that scene, and then us declaring our love and devotion for each other. Like, you are the sister that I had to leave behind. You're the brother that I took the place for Spock in her life, and she took the place for Sarana in my life.
Yeah, wow.
So we were admitting that to each other and declaring our love, and now this is something we have to do. And she was having such an emotional conflict with I'm the one who's going to end his life. This is like an assisted suicide, but I had to assure her that this is what it's going to happen anyway, whether you do this or not. So please help me. Oh, and so both of us were in tears that day, legitimately. And we got, when you play the same scene from different angles and you're doing, it takes a long time to shoot, a couple minutes of scene. It took hours. So here we are working up tears. We both had like this headache of I'm so, I got that crying headache thing.
Yeah.
But it was such an emotionally connected day that it lives as a real highlight for me in this series.
Yeah, that is an amazing scene. I remember it vividly. And it was certainly one of the highlights of season 2, without a doubt.
Before that, I'm helping figure out a scientific problem on the ship. If you remember, it was the sphere. That's when we met the sphere data, and I realized that it was dying and it needed a new home in our ship, and that's what it was trying to do. When we were trying to figure all that out, there was a moment in the science lab where it's just again Burnham and Saru, and I asked her. I said, please do me a favor. I've been keeping a journal and a log of all my activity and all my, my experience with Starfleet. Can you please make sure that gets back to my home world so that other Kelpiens who come after me can know the possibilities and can know their potential. That was I'm actually feeling emotional now talking about it, because that was another moment where I couldn't fight back the tears, and it was not supposed to be a teary scene, but it turned out to be for me. When we were filming it, I couldn't fight, because every time I got there, it's like, oh my gosh, that whole feeling of what's your legacy? What are you going to leave behind? Will it be of any use to those who come after you? That's a big deal. And
that's very powerful.
That episode really lives on. Yeah,
absolutely. When you were shooting season 3, that was in a pre-COVID world, wasn't it? There was that hadn't come along, but obviously now you're on the cusp of heading back into production for season 4. What big changes have you had to make? In shooting the new season in a post-COVID world?
We're all tested 3 times a week. And they have the different departments are sectioned off, and there's less intermingling. There's fewer people on the set. we are masked, and our set chairs are farther apart from each other. So that thing we're talking about, like, hey, look at this video on my phone, we don't do that anymore. So there's a lot of intermingling and the masks come off after rehearsal is done, right before camera rolls, and the masks go back on when we go back to reset cameras for another shot. So it's a longer, more tedious day maybe, and if there is any kind of a scare that a test might come back positive for a crew member or anything like that, or someone has a tummy ache, it can be the most simple thing. We have to shut down for a minute to go, okay, and assess and analyze before we go back. So they're keeping us extremely safe. They're being cautious. What feels like it might be overboard, but better to err on the side of caution than not.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure. Now, at the end of season 3, Saru is off on Kaminar. He's assisting Su'Kal settle in. Is this a temporary assignment, and will we see Saru back in the captain's chair again, or has his time in command of Discovery concluded?
Well, I asked Michelle Paradise, our showrunner, that when after we were filming the season finale of season 3, I was like, "Am I still on the show?"
Yes.
Because all of a sudden, I in a scene that the audience doesn't even see, apparently a conversation they don't see. I talked with Burnham and wanted her to take command, and I end up really having this again, that tether to home, and wanting to help Su'Kal find his way. And it was also a chance for Saru to go home. I think he's been missing Kaminar, and he's been missing his home world and his people, and his customs and all the things that he missed. So he'll lap that up for a while. He has command. He has captain rank with Starfleet. He worked very hard to get that. He made that his life's mission. So I think we're seeing a wrestle between this allegiance to home and his new allegiance to Starfleet that for the second half of his life. So he's not going to give up either one, I don't think. So I think that season 4. We're going to see how he balances those two things together. That's basically all I can say.
Okay, fascinating. Which did you like best for Saru's going to warp catchphrases? Was there? Because I loved that scene in season 3 where you're just trying the shoes on, see which phrase fits.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think my favorite moment comedically was well hit then.
Yes.
Until he's like, oh.
No.
Yeah, and then then I think execute got kind of a reaction from the crew that was like, no, we're not there yet.
Yeah.
And I think his carry on seemed to be the one that made the most sense. Mm-hmm. But I saw a huge Twitter conversation about this after that episode aired, and a lot of fans were weighing in on suggestions for the new catchphrase.
Yes, yeah.
And I think I think a winner that sounded good to me was proceed.
Oh, okay.
Or even proceed, please, because that's more
right.
Saru's gentlemanly way.
Okay.
That might have been nice, but we never really came back and revisited that, did we? So I don't know.
No, yeah.
He doesn't need one now, right?
A good one that I heard was spin it, because when you go to black alert, the ship spins.
Right.
So
the whole ship, right?
Yeah.
Spin it.
Yeah. Now, so far, we've only sort of just scratched the surface of Kelpien abilities. We've seen Saru having sort of super speed in, I think it was season 1, when you're on a cliff top running super fast and so forth. We had him throwing henchmen to the ceiling in the mirror universe and so forth, exhibiting super strength. And of course, we've got the new ganglia darts now as well.
Love those, right? Yeah.
Would you like to see more of these sort of Kelpien powers, used in future episodes?
Well, sure. I mean, there've been quite a few already, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure when you go from organic over to mythical superhero. There needs to be. I want to stay in the organic world if we can.
Yeah.
His eyes also have a certain ocular
Of course, the vision
perceive
spectrum, yes,
that humans can't, right? So there's enough going on already. I think where the threat ganglia are now these quills that come out and shoot. That was a surprise to Saru. If you remember, when I found out I could do that, it's when when Sarana and I were captive. We sacrificed ourselves and became prisoners to the Baul, and that's when that Baul came up out of the black muck to we had this conversation, and the first thing these did on their own was like, so
yeah, yes,
it seemed like those quills are tied to instead of a threat being something to be afraid of, a threat means attack, and so we found that out in that moment that the Baul were probably the prey species in another life, before, and they found a way with technology to subdue us and to lie to us, and it was probably for their own survival, really. So that was an interesting moment, and I got to use them again at the beginning of season 3. In that saloon scene,
you got to shoot Sara. Yeah, I think it was Sara you shot. Yes.
Yeah, so that was great to use them again. So I don't know when we'll have the opportunity to see other powers. Yeah, and also in that episode you were talking about running along the cliffs at super speed on the planet Pavo. I also, when I went a little bit crazy, and I asked for Burnham's and Tyler's communicators, please. And they gave them to me, and I crushed them. Just
oh, right.
Yeah. Now that's like taking a cell phone and crushing it with one hand.
Yeah,
So I loved having that kind of power. That was amazing. And the prop department did a great job of making rubbery ones that I could do that with. It was great.
Fantastic. Yes. Anything is possible in science fiction, from alternate universes to time travel. If you could choose a Star Trek character from any past series whose actor is still living for Saru to share the screen with, who would you choose and why?
Wouldn't it be fun if Saru could have a sit down or maybe even play chess with Data? Because Brent Spiner's still around, and I would love that.
That would be amazing. Yes.
Yeah, I mean they're both precise and well vocabularied and and very orderly people. I think chess would be a perfect game for them.
Yes, absolutely. That would be one not to miss. In terms of directors and so forth, I imagine working with Jonathan Frakes would be a pleasure. What's it like working with him on the show?
He's a dream. He's an absolute dream to work with. I think we love all of our directors from, they rotate around in a TV series. One episode is directed, we have different directors for every episode usually. So when Frakes comes around, it is always, everyone perks up. Everyone loves him. He's done a couple episodes per season, so we've seen a lot of him. And but being that he was also an actor, he relates to us at a level that he gets us. He understands where we're at and what might motivate us or what we might need in any given moment. And not just another actor, but another actor who has lived in the Trek universe.
Absolutely.
So he gets a lot of things that another director may not have the privilege to. He also has a wicked sense of humor, lighthearted attitude. He knows we're not doing brain surgery. We're making a TV show. He keeps it light and fluffy. But if a scene needs an emotional depth and gravity to it, he'll go there with us as well. He is. If you're going to have someone direct a TV episode, get Frakes.
Fantastic. In season 3, which ended on a bit of a question mark regarding Saru's immediate future with him remaining on Kaminar and Burnham being promoted to Discovery's captain, a lot of fans were sort of disappointed to see you vacate the captain's chair so soon. What would you say to them, and can you offer any insight?
Well, Discovery has been a different model of show than the other Star Trek series that you've seen before anyway, from the beginning. The star of the show and the main character you've been really following is Michael Burnham. and her rise, her fall, her rise again, her her fall again, her rise again. She's done a whole graph of misbehaving and behaving. So that's really the character that I think that we've all been rooting for to wind up in a captain's chair one day. So I knew when I got the captain's chair in season 3, this wasn't going to be forever, because I think it belongs to Burnham eventually as the series would go. So that's I don't think that's a surprise to anybody, really.
I suppose the reaction that a lot of fans and so forth that I've spoken to is that sort of felt like something that might occur, say, in the final season of the series, rather than I'm not sure how many seasons we have in Discovery, but it sort of feel like she should make captain at the end of the series, sort of thing. And I guess everyone was a little surprised because you filled the chair so well as captain that we only just got Saru in the captain's chair. Like, give him a chance, give him at least a full season and a bit, you know.
Oh, that's very sweet to hear. Thank you. When I saw that was going to be happening for season 3, that's the one time I did ask our writers, and Michelle Paradise in particular. Well, I think I asked her because I was terrified of the prospect. I came into the series not ever expecting to be captain, ever. As an actor, I didn't realize that was going to be happening. So I told her, I said, this feels a bit above my pay grade.
Right.
Right? Because what comes with it is, I love, I'm a lazy actor. I memorizing too much dialogue is like, really? Instead of asking for more lines, I ask for less.
Right.
And so when you're a captain, you're going to have more dialogue.
Yeah.
Be involved in more scenes, and because every decision that happens will have to go through me. So I realized that came with a lot of responsibility, not just as Saru, but as an actor, as Doug Jones. It was more was required of me. So I was tickled pink to ask Michelle Paradise, how long is this going to last? And so she told me ahead of time that by the end of the season you'll be handing the chair over, and I'm like, fantastic.
Everyone got to don one of these new 32nd Century Starfleet uniforms at the end of season 3, except for Saru. Was that a bit hard for you? Will we get to see Saru in a 32nd Century Starfleet uniform, do you think, in season 4?
Well, like I said, he still has captain status in Starfleet. So if that's the new uniform, then sure, he'll join that. I'm sure. I'm sure. For now, he was just happy to be back in Kaminar garb, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Right, watching the light show in the sky,
and the water, or the moon on the water in the bay, and
moon on the water. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was beautiful. Sukal, that precious childlike Kelpien that I was helping, played by Bill
Irwin. Fantastic performance by Bill.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Well, I've been a fan of his for decades. And he's being that I started as a mime many years ago in college. He's like of any clowning or miming or physical tomfoolery. Everyone knows Bill Irwin in that world,
because you're both from that sort of vaudevillian sort of acting background, sort of thing. Yeah.
Right. So he was just a huge icon in my world. So when I found out, when Alex Kurtzman, our other big showrunner on the series, when he told me that he had a relationship, or he had worked with Bill Irwin before and could probably get him, I was like, if you can get Bill Irwin, please do. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes. And so part of getting Bill into to play that guest role involved a phone call with me before he committed contractually. He wanted to talk to me first, which I was like, Bill Irwin wants to talk to me? So I was just beside myself. So I gushed on him on the phone, and surprised to hear him gush back on me.
Oh, wow.
He was well aware of my career, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's like hearing that Elvis Presley thinks you're a good singer. Are you kidding me?
Yes, so, absolutely.
I was just like, yeah. So to work with him was an absolute dream. It was a masterclass in finding a character. He went through my Kelpien training,
Yes,
but he
yes.
made it very much his own. I was so proud of him.
I thought he did a fantastic job of capturing that spirit of somebody who's sort of that very childlike sort of performance, who's been literally by himself since a child, and all he's had is the holograms to kind of raise him. So there's that level of kind of innocence and vulnerability that he had, you know, where he's like over 100 years old, yet he's sort of still a bit like a 5 or a 6 year old.
He's never had a relationship with another living being that would have matured him, right? So that was fascinating.
Yeah. Some very sweet scenes between you and he, with the making of the I forget the name of the porridge you were.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
Sinulim
or senulim, something like that. I think it was sinulim.
Sinulum.
Yes.
Sinulum.
Yes.
Yes. Good.
Yeah. So, what would you like to see in Saru's future? Maybe a love interest or something, perhaps.
Well, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. Did you see his interactions with President Teresa of Navarre, formerly Vulcan?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Well, that's our little walk and talk down the hallway, and our getting to know each other a little bit, and in our goodbye scene when Saru asked her many things to consider with Navarre, the Vulcan people rejoining the Federation. But in the meantime, I would like to continue our conversations. And she said, I would like that too. So that was a moment of like, really? Yeah. So, and I think if anybody could romantically entice Saru, it would be a Vulcan. That makes perfect sense because, again,
and she's the president. She's a president too. So you well and truly, go for the top one. You know, the president of Vulcan.
Yeah, and she, again, very prim and proper, very poised, very vocabularied, very intelligent. All the things that would attract Saru, of course.
I don't recall there being any moments like that Saru's had so far. So that's sort of an area that is untapped and unexplored in terms of his character.
Right. So I would love to see her come back around and to see more evolved there. That'd be great.
That would be great. So are there any hints you can give us about what we might expect for Discovery Season 4?
I want to keep my job. No.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think with Captain Burnham now, she has her own leadership style to explore and to show the audience, and her own love interest relationship. And remember, Book is still around too. So so there's we'll see where their relationship goes as well. Absolutely. So there's a lot to come.
Are you able to say whether all of our guests from season 3 will be returning? Like Book and Adira, will they be back for season 4 that you're aware of?
I was the biggest question mark on whether I'd be coming back because of the way the series, the season 3, ended. But yeah, you can pretty much count on everybody, all the other series regulars that you're used to from season 3.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much as far as I know, everybody's back.
Okay.
Again, in the world of COVID, especially now, though, again, without intermingling as much, I read a script and I learn my parts, and then otherwise I don't have less interaction with everybody to know, who is around. I can't remember,
Well, Doug, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Thank you so much for joining me on Sci-Finatics and discussing your wonderful character of Saru.
Well, it has been my absolute pleasure, Nick. Thank you so much for having me. You're a delight to talk with.
All right, you have a great day and stay safe there over in Toronto, and all the best with filming season 4.
We will do. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Doug. Cheers. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to watch my fantastic interview with Doug Jones. What a gentleman and what an amazing guy to talk to about all of his career in Star Trek and also in film and TV throughout the sci-fi and fantasy genre. Really interesting stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Guys, please don't forget to like, to comment, to share, subscribe, check out my merchandise, and click on join to learn all about memberships for Sci-Finatics. And I will be back soon with another video. I'll see you then.